was quite funny. I did that in the Prague 50K to Leon, and he I think folding a king there is pretty good, by the way. Pretty standard.
Tell your Prague story, and then let's just quickly talk about this one because you folded very fast. But tell the Prague story.
So I was playing Leon heads up in the 50K, and he gave me like 3 walks whilst I had kings. And every single time I showed, and every single time he would like get up, like, yes, I'm the best, like do a victory lap, like high-fiving people, like, got him again. He's such a delight to play with. He actually is. I can imagine that being extremely frustrating for someone that's a bit more emotional. But I think he knew that, like, because he and I were just like fucking around for the whole 3 days of the tournament, that he can just do whatever's. If he like stood up when he won and was like, "That's what you get, boy," it'd be like, "Yeah, okay, that's funny." Good for you.
Yeah, I guess a lot of it with people is knowing kind of what is appropriate for the relationship. You know, how cool are you guys that you can get away with stuff, versus if there's no rapport, if there's no connection. There are certain things that are going to be misinterpreted and misunderstood, so they shouldn't be done.
Some people that don't know me and Ben and don't know that Ben and I are friends have, when they've seen us play at the table, and so like I'll stack him and be like, "That's what you get, idiot! Get the fuck out!" Oh, shoving king 10 suited, nice shove, bro. Like, other people at the table be like, he was lovely. I'm so sorry, man. Like, don't take it personally. And Ben's just sitting there, just like, and Ben sometimes like plays along, and be like, "That's really mean. We barely know each other, bro. Come on." It's just really fun.
Wow, I love the kind of dynamic you guys have and the kind of fun that you bring to your poker experience as a result of like having that connection.
Yeah, it's so fun. It's so fun that neither of us really give a shit when we lose as well. That like, so like, if I come back from a big tournament and I just like have got ridiculously unlucky and I've lost a huge amount of equity, the first thing when Ben sees me like not in the tournament and he sees that I've bust, he'll just like point to me and be like, dummy. And that'll be it. That'll be the conversation about it, then we'll just move on.
Yeah, it's like a big bro, little bro dynamic kind of thing.
Yeah, it is like that, but we like switch who's the big bro and the little bro, depending.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're good.
Great.
Very glad I did not choose to 3-bet that queen 10. Definitely could have. This is a situation where it's pretty much like the other ace 10, where he could definitely choose to check raise. They're a bit deeper than they were, I think. So it's definitely less tempting, but still pretty reasonable to want to check raise if you do. But I agree with the check call. I think the stacks are just a bit too weird for it. You end up just getting it in against hands that are better than you.
Right, so like at a certain stack depth, you can assume that you can check raise, get it in against a range you're doing well against, but the deeper the stacks are, the narrower their get-in range is going to be, and therefore your equity against their get-in range gets worse and worse as the stacks get deeper, right?
Precisely. I like this. I'll just like jumble up my words and try and say a pretty difficult concept to articulate, and you just like smoothly glide over it and be like, "That's what he means, by the way, guys. He's not actually speaking gibberish."
That's why we make a good team, man.
Yeah, it's great. So I like the idea to check back there. I think his hand can still be the best hand sometimes. And it just feels like he's probably going to get called if he bluffs too much. Guy, it must be so frustrating for like GTO players to listen to someone like me speak about poker, where I'm not even like mentioning whether our hand has good blockers for bluffing or not. I'm just like, oh, it feels like it'll get called. And that's like my thought process sometimes. And it must be so frustrating if you're the kind of person that's so emotionally invested in the idea of blockers being like the be-all and end-all of how you should be designing your strategies and things like that. And that you've got to be balanced in all the spots. And yeah.
Sometimes it's good to break down people's belief systems, man.
Yes. I actually just made a video. I'm not sure if I'm gonna redo it because I didn't edit. I'm not gonna edit it if I do post it on why I think that it's pretty terrible for a lot of new poker players that their only introduction to poker has been people telling them to play GTO. So yeah, I made a pretty long rant about that, and I think I'm probably going to post it. Not a big fan of their mindsets in general.
Yeah, I just think the mindset of like rigidity and strictness and there is only one way and like no adaptability, that's what the problem is. It's almost like a closed-mindedness. Like we've found the best way, it is the only way. Everything else is obsolete. Forget about it.
Yeah, I agree. Pretty cool. Not going to speak about it too much, but if I'm Garen there, I'd probably min bet the turn. So I'm not going to go into detail, but if people can work out why they think min betting the turn would be pretty fun, do let me know. Yeah, I think that the analogy I used for GTO in the video was, and it was off the top of my head, so it's not like a perfect analogy, but the way that when you go into school and you get taught music, I think the way that it's taught, and other subjects as well, but music was the one that I used. The way that it's taught is so constraining, and like you said, it just teaches rigidity. It teaches you not to think outside the box and not to use your own intuition. They're like, you have to make music using A, then B, then C. You have to use these chords and these chords and these chords. It really, I think, diminishes any chance of getting a genius at a young age. Like, there would probably be a bunch of genius composers if they went through the education system for music and learned how to, correctly make music. There'd probably be nowhere near as good as they are now if they're left to their own devices. And I think it's really similar. That is a very bad limp with 9-3 off. I think it's really similar. God, it's really bad. That's so loose. What's he doing? I think it's really similar to the way that people are told to how to play poker. Like, they're told that they have to follow this like pretty simplistic ABC Doug Polk strategy. Jesus Christ, Garen, just goes for it. Sometimes you got to go for it.
Do you think it's kind of funny that like Doug Polk has been giving credit as like the GTO guy when really like Bill Chen and Jared Aikenman like wrote Mathematics of Poker way before, and it's the exact same strategy, and so many other people had a part in it and were playing and came up with it, yet he is known as the guy whose strategy it is.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean he deserves it in some way because I love this bluff from the kick. I love it. That's actually so good. I think a lot of people don't do that. But because Garen snap-checked the river, he just never has a hand worse than fives. Like, if he tank-checked, he might just be, like, deciding to give up. But the fact that he snap-checked and didn't even consider bluffing shows that he has some kind of showdown value. And the kick suddenly faced with a situation where he has... It's almost like the hand that I had earlier against him, right at the beginning, on the first episode, I guess. Where he found himself at the bottom of his range, but with a hand that's actually the best hand sometimes. But because of the timing tell, I think this time he decided to bluff it. So yeah, going back to the Doug thing, I think that Doug definitely deserves the label in some description because, and Garen just can't quit, because he is the most entertaining out of all the GTO people. So like, fair enough, he gets his kudos. I think that, I mean, I've mentioned in front of like some of the high rollers, I think like Ike or something. I just remember being like, yeah, so it's like the Doug Polk style of, GTO poker. And I remember Ike just being like, well, that's kind of insulting. Because I think to a lot of those players, like Doug's not very like particularly good at GTO anymore. Whereas, he's good at, his heads up, no limit. But, there's just sorry, you go.
Well, guys like Ike, the Greenwoods, Dan Smith, and like that whole crew, those guys have been solving for like 10 years.
Yeah.
Like, I think Ike said he was going to stop playing much Hold'em or telling new people to get into Hold'em because he saw when Pyro Solver first came out and he's like, they've put our brains into a machine.
Yeah. So I see bet here with the ace king, even though it looks like a really bad spot to see bet, just because there are so many hands in their ranges that have to fold. And it looks like I have a really strong c betting range. And I think this is a really cool, just a little hint for people that play in micro stakes. c-bet small on the monotone board. So like if there's 3 hearts, 3 diamonds, 3 spades, 3 clubs, c-bet small, you'd be surprised how many combinations of hands that most situations have where they just miss with the board completely. Obviously, if it's like they call the button after you've opened mid position and it comes like Jack 10 9 3 hearts, then that's not a situation where this counts. But I'd say like 80 to 90% of situations where it comes like monotone and it's heads up 1-on-1, then c-betting small is a pretty legit strat. I remember working that out when I used to play in micro stakes. I even started like donk betting small on those kind of things. If it was heads up, I'd even start like just like quarter pot donk betting if it came like a 7-3 3 hearts, because people would end up folding way too much because they just have like queen 10 no heart and just be like I was meant to see my dude. The fuck?
You stole my play, man.
My time. Yeah.
You gonna go to PCA, mate?
I am not. I think I'm going to stay in London. I'm probably going to skip PCA and Aussie Millions.
Cool.
And skip Prague as well. So I'm really going for the, like when people say that they're going to start retiring and start taking time off poker, they don't really do that. They just carry on playing forever and then miss out like one stop. But I'm trying to stick with it.
Yeah, you gotta give it a fair shake to see what that life is like.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of nice with cryptocurrency existing that you know if you have money you don't actually need to work or anything. You just need to have some knowledge about crypto. And yeah, starting up a charity at the moment in London, so spending most of my time here.
Wow, that's amazing. What's the charity for?
I am not going to say yet. I'm going to wait.
Okay.
I'm going to wait, but it's very exciting. I'm putting a lot of my time and energy into it.
Wow, this is awesome. So much hype.
Charity hype.
Hopefully
I can sponge the poker community, because if there's anyone that has too much money, shout out to poker communities.
I think we can also shout out to the business world.
Yeah.
I think the people who are having a strong impact on the world are going to be a lot of people who have a lot of resources.
Yeah, for sure. Look how nice this is. Ugh. In these situations, it's really good to see, but pretty much your entire range, pretty small. It just makes it a really nice situation to bluff. As Garen here, even though it looks kind of tempting to float with your backdoors, it's definitely not a good situation too. Some of your straights you might end up like getting cooled in. Like if I have ace 10 and you hit a straight somehow using the 10, then you just get stacked, and yeah, your backdoors just aren't worth that much, especially when you don't have when you're drawing when your 9 and 8 are so dead against my value hands. It's just not worth it. I assume I 3-bet here, knowing me and knowing the strategy I had against Gibbler.
Yeah, looks like a good hand to be semi-bluffing with here, and your stacks are perfect for it.
Yeah, I guess I'm probably going smaller because I think he's folding too much. It means I can't get away with it. I would go bigger again. Jesus, Gibbles, chill out.
Yeah, he took both spots.
Yeah, holy shit. I mean, he's folded 2 and he's shoved 2. But that's definitely like a calling hand. If there's ever a calling hand, King Jack suited is pretty good. I guess he didn't want to take the post flop variance, but noobs.
Dude noobs.
Super noobs. C-betting with Sems here is more of a protection C-bet, and stopping yourself from getting bluffs C-bet as well. You are pretty much never getting value from a worse hand, apart from if he has a 3. Because even if he does have like King 10 or King Jack and he peels the flop, you end up losing the hand against those hands almost all the time. So yeah, protection, then give up if you get called is the plan, basically. Definitely okay to check back the flop as well. Just a strategy I like to use against aggressive players because they're probably going to be bluffing too many turns and rivers.
Like they're going to be bluffing so many turns of rivers, but you don't have a hand you can call down with.
Yeah, exactly. So you don't give them a chance to bluff if you see bet it.
Can you talk briefly about the avatar that you got? Because it's super cool.
Yeah, I don't know. I just really like Galaxy stuff, man.
Yeah.
I think that I could definitely go for like a higher EV one. Like, I feel like there are some avatars you could put in to make people call you down more or make people spaz out against you more. Like I used to have on Party Poker a picture of me looking like 12 years old. So like people would tilt so much, put in the chat box, he's like, dumb lucky kid. And you can tell like that there are some ego people out there that do not like losing poker to someone that looks like they aren't old enough to play. Which is definitely my experience after playing live in America as well. This c-bet I like from Garen. He's got some backdoors, like all the backdoors. Unfortunate to run into 2 calling hands. It would actually be pretty cool for Gibbles to raise it. Depending on how often he thinks Garen's c-betting.
Is that because it's rare that the kick has a hand that can face a check raise?
I mean, he can face a check raise King Jack, but whether he wants to like go the whole way with it, that's pretty rare, yeah. He might have 7s and 5s, but apart from that, he does have a bunch of hands like 8s, 9s, and then just like loads of King X, and this is weird. That's super weird. I mean, I guess his thought process is that Gibbler has so many draws, and Garen has so much air that he just like wants to charge the draw and get the air to fold. So this could be like okayish. You just get in so many shit spots if Garen actually has a hand though, or if Gibbler has a hand.
But you also find out if they have a hand, and if you were willing to put another bet anyway, you get that bet in with a bit more information. I know because I've made this exact play, and it's for the exact reasons that you said. It's when there's like a pretty clear read, and you don't really want to like risk the free card coming off for the other players. You just kind of take control.
Yeah, I can see the logic. I just I don't particularly agree with it. I think that yeah, I mean there are definitely situations where doing that kind of stuff's fine. I just think in that one, like if either Gibbler or Garen have a value hand, or they choose to bluff the river, then you just put in such a shitty situation. Decided not to shove here. I thought that I could be perceived to be bluffing a lot, considering it's me. I definitely have a very, 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 very loose image. And it's good to be aware of that and to be able to adjust accordingly, and to 3-bet this instead of shoving it is definitely one of those adjustments where people can think that I might be able to be bluffing with just like a lot of air. I think that point is illustrated right about now. Damn, yeah. All right, it's close enough, close enough. So on this board, I'm just going to be trying to... I'll c-bet once at least. Maybe check turn and shove river. The reason for that is because if I c-bet and he calls, and the turn is... The pot's big enough that we don't need to get 3 streets of value, so I just get to choose which street will look the bluffiest. I think I decided to shove this turn just because of the second flush draw. If he does have a flush draw, and a lot of his like king 10 of club, we have king clubs, but like his like ace 10 of clubs, hands like that will probably decide to check back the turn, and also we can look super, super bluffy as well. So if he does have a 7 or a jack, then there's a good chance he's going to call, I think. I mean, he's always calling a jack, but there's a good chance he can call a 7 as well. Plus, if he has a jack and he checks back and the river's like a queen, king, or ace, then we might lose out from stacking him as well. I remember.
I remember too.
I remember when I lost my mind. Yeah, this is a pretty sick one. Gibbles puts his foot down, having none of it.
Yeah. He's just deciding that Garen is not playing an ace or even a 4 this way, so King High must be good.
It's a brave one with the King of Hearts as well, blocking his King X of Hearts. That's a brave one. I'm not sure if I would make the same decision. I think the big blind can still have like some ace X. He just must be thinking that he's not going to check shove them.
Yeah.
So yeah, kudos to Gibber for pulling the trigger in a really shitty situation in such a high equity spot. And I think that really shows some good heart.
Yeah. Boss status, heart and commitment to the game.